Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. You know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave and the beautiful. December 10th, 2018, Big C. How's it going for you good old boys down south?
Charlton, it's been wet. I mean, it's been wet down here every day for about 2 weeks, it seems like. We've had so much rain that, it would fill up a lot of lakes around the country.
Yeah.
But also, Charlton, down here in the south, there's some tears that are shed, this weekend with the passing of William Defoe. William Defoe, Charlton, was one of the Tuskegee Airmen. He was 100 years old when he passed away on Saturday in New York City.
Wow.
And when we talk about great individuals in American history, especially a black history, Charlton, you think about what the Tuskegee Airmen did in World War II, Charlton,
Yeah.
in a segregated Air Force. They were they were fought against being able to fly in World War II, Charlton, but they were the most successful aviators in World War II.
Wow.
And Mr. Defoe was one of those, Charlton. They saved more American lives than any other air wing in the United States Air Force, Charlton, in World War II, but yet they had to come back to a country of segregation and discrimination. They were not rewarded for the accolades that they had achieved during World War II. And you think about the historicness of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah.
That's what allowed black pilots in American civil aviation, Charlton, not just the Air Force, but in private aircraft. What we have today, as far as African Americans being able to be pilots on commercial airlines, in the military, Charlton, is all bestowed because of the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II.
Wow, that's beautiful, Big C. I want to say today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. I remember they did a movie called Red Tails about Tuskegee Airmen. And a lot of times people don't understand the history of African Americans that fought for this country. That's why it's such anathema when people say that black athletes don't stand for the flag. Tuskegee Airmen fought for this country, and the flag wouldn't stand for them, Big C, but they fought anyway, the best fighting pilots in the history of this country. I think also there was a time that this great country of ours, they injected 400 black men with syphilis. The American government did that and allowed them to go cohabit with their wives and girlfriends without their knowledge. It was the great experiment against military men who served this country. And the country never really has paid reparations for that. They may have apologized, but that's all they did was apologize. But even through that, Big C, Tuskegee Airmen fought with honor, they were brave, and they were segregated. But they still love this country. Talk about the character of a man that gets in an airplane and fights for a country that won't honor him, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we can go all the way back to the Civil War, when African Americans fought in a war against the people who oppressed them, Charlton. And, you think about the service in World War I, Charlton.
Yeah.
You think about the Great Alaskan Highway. That was built by black soldiers during World War II and got no credit for it. They were sent to the outposts of America to suffer, to build something to make life easy for white Americans. But when you think about all of what happened to African American soldiers who came back to this country, Charlton, that faced a greater threat from Americans, white Americans, than what they ever faced by going over to Europe and fighting in World War II, Charlton. Black soldiers were hung in America, Charlton. They were killed by Americans. The atrocities that went on in this country and the racism and the vitriol towards black American soldiers. And people want to say, well, things are different now. But those people had family. They had relatives, Charlton, and that had to live with that. And to go and fight for you, and you come back and you fight them. You treat them as third-class citizens that they were not, had the ability or the honor to be an American. Many black soldiers were killed, Charlton, after World War II for even wearing their uniform. by disgruntled white people who would not go fight in the war.
Yeah.
They would kill an African-American soldier, for defending their rights. Just like what we have now when we look at our Oval Office, who is constantly knocking minorities, who is beating down minorities all the time, for trying to achieve and to have a better life, just like those African-American soldiers did in World War II. They knew it was their civic duty, and they were honored to be able to serve in the military.
Yeah.
But the military didn't appreciate what they gave, Charlton. They fought with valor in the Navy, in the Air Force, in the Marines, and in the Army, Charlton.
Yeah, I think it's so incredible. And we always talk about, the love of our country. When you love something, it doesn't mean you don't criticize it. You criticize it to make it better. There's something I want to do starting today. It's called 21 Days. There's 21 days left in the year 2018. In the land of the free, in the home of the brave. Sports is crazy around this country. Everybody loves sports. We love sports, politics, we love entertainment. But 21 days left in this great year of 2018. From Big C Sports, there are lots of individuals who have physical needs. God tells us to feed his sheep. He's referring to feed our spiritual needs. We always hear about love for the military. What about love for the fellow man? Today's society, we need to feed some sheep with spiritual food. That means to feed the physical man and woman. Sit down and talk with somebody over a cup of coffee or a meal and share some spiritual food. Not just when we celebrate war, but celebrating life. We can find a way to help people maneuver through life. And that's from Big C Sports to the whole world. That's not just to read you scores. And sometimes for the holidays, everybody gets a card. You get a Christmas card, happy holidays. And then people go back to being their mean selves. Well, from Big C Sports, we're doing this thing called 21 Days. I want to say something that I'm grateful for the rest of 2018, expecting a beautiful 2019. But Big C, I'm grateful that we have a platform to speak from the heart about sports and politics and race and religion and God, because I hope that in 2019, I'm just going to predict that just like the Oakland Raiders are getting rid of a lot of people, you're going to see a lot more stations getting rid of the dumbing down of their broadcast. There are going to be a lot more stations that are going to add a segment for intelligent people, not just dumb guys that want to know who won a game. I'm already seeing it, Big C. After 3 years of doing this on Big C Sports, I'm seeing more and more people not being afraid to talk about what they call something that's socially conscious. I think it's just being real. I would like to make sure that as a platform for the young people, when you're looking for that station that you want to find that's going to speak the truth to you, the station that says Google what we say, that Big C Sports will become more prominent. Big C, we're copying so much, I even hear people with a sore throat on the air today. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the wonderful thing about life is to be able to be a trailblazer, to not worry about the things you say. We live in a society now that everybody feels that political correctness is the proper thing, regardless of what it is. Everything that we have in society today, Charlton, got somewhere by offending somebody.
Yep.
Whether it was talking about an ethnicity or someone's orientation, Charlton, or just culture.
Yeah.
It got there by bringing up the dialogue. And I think that's the worst thing to lose in society is dialogue, Charlton, because we all, as a culture, need to know where people stand, to need to know how people feel.
Yes.
You're not going to appease everybody.
Nope.
People are going to get offended every day. And then the other people will just find a reason to be offended, even though if they're not.
Yeah.
They're just going to make something up. But I also think, Charlton, that the greatest thing that anybody can do is speak.
Yeah.
It was a gift that was given to so many people. And you think about those people who weren't fortunate enough to be able to have that, Charlton, the ability to speak. But when you can go out and speak and hopefully make a change or a difference in someone's life, affect someone emotionally, mentally, well, they may think in a different path, Charlton.
Yeah.
Whether it's in just social life, whether it's in politics, whether it's in sports, when they can look at things objectively, Charlton, that's what you want to be able to create in life.
Yep.
Is that people will take a different perspective on things that they may have thought something differently about, that they can say, I really didn't realize that because I was thinking just in one way and looking in one direction.
Yeah.
I need to broaden my spectrum. And once we broaden our spectrum in life, Charlton, we have the ability to accept others even more frequently.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. You know, you always open my mind to things, Big C. As an African-American man, I read a lot. I don't read as much as you, but I read a lot. And I ask young people, something you just said, it just went over a lot of people's head too. We have freedom of speech. There was a time when black men were murdered for learning how to read by mainstream. That, you think about that. Some of the things we say, which are all true, we just say Google it. People will lose their life for learning how to read in this country. And you think about how far we've come as a people. That did not come by being quiet. That did not come by being passive. That did not come by people saying, well, I don't want to offend somebody. No, you got to offend some people. And sometimes those people are the same color. The same color people might say, well, man, you know, you don't want to cause any trouble. You know, we got it pretty good. You know, I played pro football for so many years. I got it good. I'm on TV. I don't want to go to my producer and say, maybe we should do a segment, not a whole show, but a segment on things that can help people, like Big C's 21 Days Countdown to 2018. I want to make sure that when we have the right to speak, we're not just filling the air with dumbness. You talked about the Alaska Highway that African Americans built. You know, African Americans also built Washington, D.C., the White House. That was designed by black people, built by black men. And now we have a president that won't let black men in, unless they're just for show, you know, what they call window coding, window dressing. I want people to always be proud of, say, Google the truth. No matter what you're going through, everybody has the need to be significant. But if you don't say what you really feel, like what do you want, why even have a thought, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you know, the thing that I appreciate the most about myself is to be able to be open.
Yeah.
You know, something that I learned a long time ago is that the worst question ever asked is the one that wasn't, because it never got an answer.
Yeah.
And so it's not about being curiosity. It's about trying to get informed about things.
Yeah.
And whether you can inform someone or have someone inform you is what we do in life. It's called sharing. And, you know, when you talk about sharing, you share what you have knowledge-wise with other people, and hopefully they'll share it back with you.
Yeah.
And that creates an equal balance in society, Charlton. That's where advancement in society comes from, is that people are willing to share, not sit there and play the crabs in the bucket mentality that if somebody is rising up, that I don't appreciate them, let me pull them down, or try to throw shade at them, as they would say.
Yeah.
But to appreciate someone for ascending, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. And then you want to find out the track that they took, Charlton, and see if you can ascend in the same way.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Big C. I always thought throwing shade was like covering somebody with a blanket or an umbrella. But I listen to young people, as I tell you, you've been listening to young people too. When you throw shade on somebody now, it means you make them look bad. I think a lot of people, they want someone to lie to them. Like, come up and, you know, spit your game. What do you really want? Okay, it takes you 3 weeks sometime to figure out what people want, because they're too afraid to say it up front. You got to find your tribe. A lot of people, if you tell them what you want, they'll give it to you. But when you're so busy faking the funk, trying to make people like you, you're going to miss those people that will tell you what you want, what you really want to hear, which is the answer is yes, ultimately, no matter what it is. And Big C, I want to get your thoughts in business, because oftentimes, I was talking to somebody today about the work I used to do back in San Francisco over at KGO, Channel 7. There was Bernie Ward, Ray Taliaferro. There was a lot of other gentlemen that I remember listening to in news. But I thought Ray Taliaferro was the smartest one, but he came on late in the middle of the night, black man. But he spoke such a truth that had the razor beam sharpness to it. Mainstream didn't want to hear it, so they put him on late at night. But would you believe, and Ron Owens also a part of that. Ray Taliaferro had the highest ratings, even though he came on in the middle of the night. You know why? Because he spoke the truth, Big C, and he's a black man. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the thing about what people don't want to hear is to have an intelligent black man influencing people. That was one of the faux pas in society for a long time, is that we can't have that. We can't have someone being this arrogant and coming out and informing people.
Yeah.
Because they're not supposed to be that clairvoyant about what's going on.
Yep.
They're not supposed to be able to read. They're not supposed to be able to articulate. They're not supposed to be able to inform and influence.
Yeah.
And that's what society fought for years, Charlton, is to have influential black people.
Yep.
You know, it's like when we think about the Dr. Martin Luther King, everyone thinks that he just fought for black people. Charlton, he fought for all people.
Everybody.
And when white America saw what he had done, when he made poor white people realize that they were no better off than black people, that's when the real fear of him became.
Yeah.
People did not like him anyway. But when he convinced poor white people that they were no better off than black people of the day, Charlton, that's when he really threatened society.
Yeah.
Because white society had fooled poor white people into thinking that they were the same as them.
Yeah.
Even though they had nothing.
Yeah.
And Dr. King was able to show them, no, you're not. They do not consider you one of them. They consider you one of us.
Yeah.
And once he educated people to that, Charlton, that's when white society became very fearful of him.
Yeah.
They knew that he had power, that he could make anybody understand, regardless of the race.
Yep.
That he could get them to understand their situation. And that's where we want to be in life now, is that we want everybody to understand their situation.
Yeah.
And not be envious of somebody who has more,
Nope.
but strive to gain more, Charlton.
That's very true.
And once you do that, then you empower yourself.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, Big C. It's like in Dubai, they follow Big C Sports. The richest man in Dubai is Majid Al Futtaim. Big C Sports, $1 billion. It's not a joke. He knows what I'm talking about. You can form any platform you want to. You want one that tells the truth, just like Ray Taliaferro. That's what Big C Sports is in the sports business. I just think it's so important. If you have a platform, please quit being dumb. Quit dumbing down who you are to make mainstream like you. They just laugh at you. And in a year or two, you won't be on the air anyway. So be honest. People can at least Google that. Big C, you're talking about being prescient. We were saying with the Oakland Raiders, Reggie McKenzie, who worked for the Raiders, I think, since 2012, came from Green Bay. He's out today. They let him go with the Raiders organization. They said, you can stay on and kiss our butts for another 4 weeks. But he's too powerful of a man. He said, no, I'll leave. But Big C Sports was telling you that Reggie McKenzie would be out before the end of the season. Not that we wanted that, but when you're prescient and when you're conscious and you have intuition, even though Gruden was saying, hey, we get along great, we're buddies. Mainstream told you they were great, they were buddies. But they fired that black man that helped them get Khalil Mack, helped them get Derek Carr, helped them get Cooper, that came down. He's doing great for Dallas now. Helped them get a lot of great people. Helped them hire Jack Del Rio, who took them to their last playoff with I think a 12-4 record a couple of years ago. He's gone. He's a black man. He's out of there. Gruden's not gone. And something else that I'll bring up, a lot of people may not think this has much credence, but the Raiders have this anti-Rooney rule because they gave Art Shell a job back in the day and also Hugh Jackson. The only 3 NFL coaches that have lost to the Raiders and John Gruden, they just robbed the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a touchdown if you have instant replay in the end zone. But they took it away from the Steelers, and it cost the Steelers a win. They did the same thing against Cleveland when Cleveland came to Oakland. Had a black coach. They robbed them too, took away a first down. There were so many little things. And down in Arizona, against another African-American coach, that's where the NFL orchestrated 3 wins for John Gruden, who was a horrible coach. But he had a win over 3 African-American men who all needed the Rooney Rule. And in all 3 of those games, there were so many shenanigans that went on, Big C. You would have to be blind not to see it. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the Cleveland game was the most appalling of all when Derek Carr had fumbled the football and it was picked up in return for a touchdown, and the official said he was down on the play.
Yep.
And yet, as soon as he was hit, the ball came out.
Yep.
So, when you think about how the advancement of people are in sports, Charlton, how everybody wants John Gruden to succeed.
Yeah.
Because he was beloved because he was a broadcaster. And wasn't that great, but he was a broadcaster.
Right.
And he came out, and all of a sudden he's going to come back and change football. And all of a sudden football had changed before he realized it, Charles.
Yeah.
That he was not in tune with today's players are today's mechanisms, Charles.
No.
That what he was telling people as a broadcaster is really that he didn't understand the game, nor did he understand the personality of players, Charles. The players have advanced over the last 10 years.
Yep.
You know, it's amazing, but when you look at how he has disbanded this organization, Charles, is that you've never seen the Raiders down like this before.
No.
Is that players are going out the door left and right. When you get rid of all of the all-pro players that were on that team, Charles, the long-term players, Janikowski, King, Mack, Cooper, and all of these players, Charles, have moved on to other organizations, and those other organizations have winning records. They've all assisted those teams, Charlton, in getting better. Gruden felt that they could not assist the Raiders. Now that you see McKenzie is out, and he's gotten rid of players that McKenzie drafted, he spent 6.5 years with the Raiders organization, Charlton.
And they went to the playoffs.
A foundation there.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs.
Consistently torn apart.
Yeah.
And so Gruden won't get the same scrutiny saying, well, people are going to say, well, he needs time to get his players in place to build. NFL players are not college players, Charlton. They're instantly NFL players.
Yeah.
They have the ability to play. You have to have the ability to coach them. Well, when you look at what Amari Cooper's done since he's been in Dallas.
Amazing.
You know, he's been rejuvenated. So the Raiders lost on that deal, getting that #1 draft pick for an all-pro receiver, because Amari Cooper at this point is an all-pro receiver.
Oh, yeah.
With what he's done thus far with the Cowboys. And so you look at Khalil Mack. He's an all-pro defensive end, linebacker with the Chicago Bears, Charles.
Yeah.
Janikowski has saved the Seahawks several wins this year, Charles.
Yeah.
So when you think about, here's a guy who's tearing down an organization, and there's no negativity from the media because he was part of them.
Yeah.
And to question whether he should be coaching, Mike Shanahan will get more criticism on the other side of the bay in San Francisco than what John Gruden will get in Oakland.
Oh, yeah.
And Shanahan lost his quarterback right off the bat.
Yeah. And, you know, that's a very good point, Big C. But he will get a benefit of the doubt in John Gruden. But to get rid of McKenzie, think about this. Anyone out there that follows football, okay? When you get rid of McKenzie, you got rid of a gentleman who helped draft enough players to take the Oakland Raiders to the NFL playoffs for the first time in a decade. He's out. He's out, Big C. And now you're bringing a guy that has a losing record overall without Tony Dungy's players. And only Big C Sports will be honest about it. Big C Sports is the only sports show that told you that McKenzie would be out before the end of this year. And we're also telling you that most likely the quarterback Carr won't be returning also. Okay? That's still up in the air, but look for that to happen. Too much money on the table. Get rid of his contract. You can bring down more sorry players than that. Big C, it's just part of life, man. And I hope, no matter whether we're right or wrong, you can Google that we've been saying it. Almost everything you talked about has come true. I want to just jump on something real quick because I think it's important. I want to just say, for all the people out there in the world of sports, we're such a diverse country. We can do almost anything. And in the United States of America, you can find a way to be successful no matter what you do. I know college football is over for the most part until we get to the bowls. And really there are only 4 bowl games that matter. There's the Rose Bowl, and then the National Championship Tournament, those 4 teams, and then the Rose Bowl. And there might be maybe the Sugar Bowl. But it's the Final 4, plus the Rose Bowls will always be important. But Army-Navy, 17-10 Army over the Navy. The Black Knights' 3rd consecutive winning in this series. That's the longest winning streak since 1994 to 96. Army also won its 2nd commander and chief trophy of the 2nd year in a row by holding Navy to its fewest points since 1987. We just talked about 21 days to 2019, 21 days of 2018 left. How everybody deserves liberty and justice for all, and love and concern and care. Am I my brother's keeper? Love me, feed my sheep. Well, the military's been doing that for a long time. This game doesn't get it's a great game, but for the most part, it doesn't get the same type of respect that we're going to get in the Final 4, Big C. But give me your thoughts on the Army 17-10 victory over the Navy and how important it is for our military to get this kind of love all year round, not just for one game? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is one of the greatest alumni games that you can ever have, Charlton, when you think about alumni coming back from the Navy Academy and from the U.S. Army Academy, Charlton. These people who serve our country with dignity. People sit down on Sunday and they revere about the NFL and the players that are there, Charlton.
Yeah.
And even on Saturday, when you look at the college games that are broadcast around the country, Charlton, all of these conferences having their own networks, Charlton, broadcasting, publicizing their players. The Heisman Trophy Award being given out, things like that, Charlton. All these collegiate players getting all these great individual awards and team awards.
Yeah.
But here's Army, Charlton, having a 10-win season, not even being given consideration for a ranking from our coaches polls. And so when you think about what college athletics is all about, Charlton, it's for the betterment of the young men that are participating in it.
Yeah.
And what they will get out of that game, Charlton, that will help them prepare for life after football. The young men of the military academies, Charlton, are prepared for life once they put down the helmets and the sports uniform, because they spend their time in college preparing for life, Charlton. Not sitting there saying, well, I hope I get drafted or I get a free agent tryout, Charlton. They spend their life prepping to take care of American lives.
Yeah.
And we don't give them enough credit and accolade for that as a country. We would rather say, who's the number one team in the country?
Yeah.
Who's the best quarterback? Who's the best running back? Who's the best coach? Who has the most championships? Every athlete at the Army and Navy game, Charlton, is a champion.
Yep.
They are a champion for life. They have sacrificed everything for the good of this country and to take care of this country, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's what their commitment in life is. Their commitment is not going to training camps, seeing if they can make a team, get a multi-million-dollar contract, Charlton.
Yeah.
Their commitment is really genuine. It's about life and the protection of this country.
Yeah.
And this country doesn't give them enough homage, Charlton, because they say, well, they don't have the greatest athletes. No, Charlton, but they have the greatest people.
Yeah.
That's what you look at in sports. Who has the greatest people? Well, when you look around college sports, you look around professional sports, Charlton, do you ever hear any scandalous things about a military academy athlete, Charlton?
No.
You don't hear that. You don't hear that about them beating up somebody in a bar, getting in a fight with a girlfriend or whatever. You don't hear that, Charlton. You don't hear about them running from the police and then go win the Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
You don't hear about that, Charlton. You don't even hear about them. Why, Charlton? Because all the stories about these guys are good.
Yeah.
And that's not what the media wants to show you. They don't want to tell you how proud and how much character that these young men have.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make a great story. It's not sexy, Charlton. Character is not sexy when it comes to media and when it comes to sports.
Yep.
That's not what they want to tell you. So they never will tell you about the greatness of these young men other than just during the broadcast of that game.
Yep, that's very true. Big C, speaking of greatness of men, again, congratulations when the military plays. I mean, we got to just give homage to all of them. Army, Navy, we hear the Navy say, have a fine, fine Navy day. And, be all you can be. Everybody wants to be something better. I want to go to the Heisman Trophy celebration. And I want to get your thoughts because Oklahoma has a quarterback to win for the second year in a row. Now, there are people saying, will he go pro? Will he go to baseball? I say play baseball. You make a lot more money. You don't get hurt as much. But if he were to go pro, they've been trying to push him into playing defensive back or running back or receiver. It's happened to a lot of people. If you play baseball, you have that guaranteed contract in there, and you make a lot more money than if you play in NFL football. But he has the ability to play both. Big C, what advice would you give that young man? Be all you can be, or just focus on one sport? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he would not be the first athlete, nor would he be the first Heisman Trophy winner. If he chose to go to the NFL, he would be the third Heisman Trophy winner that played professional baseball as well as football. Bo Jackson did it, Charlton. He's the most recent to have won the Heisman Trophy and go to baseball. Kyler Murray would get drafted by a team, Charlton, and would get drafted by a team in the first round if he decided to go to the NFL, because the team would take a chance on his unique skills.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at what he does, Charlton, and he has a tremendous arm. He has a better arm than what people think that he has. He has the guaranteed contract in baseball. Yes, he does. If he gets drafted in the first round of the NFL, he's guaranteed 4 years of money there.
Yeah.
And slated in the $20 million minimum bracket, Charlton.
Yeah.
So that's where he would be in the NFL. And you spoke about him winning a Heisman Trophy, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's the second consecutive Oklahoma quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
When you think about it, Charlton, this is the third time in history that a player from a university that they've won back-to-back Heisman trophies. The first time it was Ohio State. Archie Griffin was the individual player, but he won back-to-back Heisman trophies. The only athlete to have won two Heisman trophies in his career.
Wow.
You think about the second university that occurred at Charlton would have been the University of Southern California. They had back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners, Charlton. Charles White won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
The next year, Marcus Allen won the Heisman Trophy behind Charles White.
Yeah.
And they were two running backs. So the first time this happened, Charlton, happened with African-American running backs. This is the first time that quarterbacks from the same university has won the Heisman Trophy in back-to-back years. Baker Mayfield last year.
Yeah.
And then when you look at Kyler Murray this year, Charlton. But the feats of this young man can't go unknown.
Yeah.
You know, when you say that should he limit himself to one sport, this is the unique characteristic, Charlton, of African-American athletes that has been proven over time, that they have the ability, Charlton, to be excellent in more than one sport. When you think back to the first great athlete, Charlton, participated in multiple sports, he was a minority. He was a Native American, Jim Thorpe. They give out a Jim Thorpe Award every year for the best defensive back in college football, Charlton. But Jim Thorpe has often been thought of as one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah.
He was an Olympic gold medalist, won multiple Olympic gold medals, Charlton. He was a swimming champion. Track and field, played professional baseball and football, Charlton.
Yeah.
This is how great he was in a time when the Native American was ostracized in this country, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he was banished from playing sports because they said, well, they took away his amateurism. They took away his Olympic gold medals, Charlton, because he had played professional baseball.
Yeah.
Players do it all the time now, Charlton, that you're allowed to play a professional sport and be an amateur in another sport. But he was a minority and so dominant, Charlton, they didn't want to do that, so they discriminated against him.
Yeah.
And so I think that Kyler Murray should at least examine the NFL draft.
Yeah.
The NFL has an option to draft him, Charlton. They're not obligated. He's not obligated to go.
Right.
But if they draft him, don't turn your back on opportunity.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. We know the man has a bright future, but just do whatever comes to his heart. I still think baseball has more longevity for him. It's all fair in love and war. I want to say sports is a billion-dollar industry. Boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. I want to congratulate the 2018 high school football national champion, Mater Dei Monarchs out of Southern California. They went into the state championship in California, ranked number 1 in the country. They also are defending national champions from last year. So congratulations, Mater Dei. They beat number 8, De La Salle of Concord, 35-21 down in Southern California. So a lot of kids around the country are still playing their final high school games. And I just want to congratulate that Mater Dei program. With De La Salle, I think they've won, combined together, 9 of the last 14 California large school state championships. They're 2 private schools, which is not fair for the public schools. But Big C, when you win combined 9 of the last 14 state championships in the largest state in the country, that says a lot. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton is a tremendous wealth of talent, but when you said they have an unfair advantage over the public schools, which they do. And so I would like to see, when you have these private schools, Charlton, regardless of the sport, that they can only play each other.
Yeah.
Is that when you make them play just the general population, and you have kids out there, Charlton, that don't have the facilities that these kids have, the training staff, Charlton, that They're going out and they know that they're going to run over these kids.
It's an all-star team.
We talk about building character in sports. And when you take these all-star teams and you play them just against the regular neighborhood teams, Charlton, who do you benefit? Not the kids that they're running up and down on the scoring, Charlton, scoring 60 and 70 points every night.
Right.
You know, you get kids that just give up in these games. So I don't want to play these guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're embarrassing us. And so does that happen? That's really sports bullying, Charlton. I look at it that way. You know, you can always praise and give accolades to these kids for winning championships, but that's technically sports bullying at that level. And it's allowed by these leagues to let them participate against just a normal team.
Yeah, and I think it happens all over the country. So, Bruce Wallace, and congratulations, modern day national football champions out of California. Number 2, Allen, Texas. Number 3, St. John Bosco, also out of California. They're in the same league with modern day. Those two teams have been number 1 and 2 all season long, nobody else. Those two schools from the same region. They're both private schools. Number 4, IMG Academy out of Florida, a private school. Number 5, Coquitlam County, Norman Park, Georgia. Number 6, St. Francis Academy, Baltimore, Maryland, private school. Number 7, North Shore, Houston, Texas. Number 8, St. Louis, Honolulu, Hawaii, private school. Number 9, Duncanville, Texas. Number 10, De La Salle, Concord, California, private school. There are a lot of schools that are, you know, they're worthy of being crowned state national champion. But congratulations to those teams that did it. Big C, I want to take the final part of Big C Sports. I want to roll over to ask about this great event that happened down in Georgia. Over the weekend, you think about MLS soccer. It was Atlanta United. When the MLS, you think about it, they started winning this national championship is high school. But when you think about college football, and also when you think about what happens in soccer, let's think about it. Atlanta United, MLS title on Saturday, versus Portland Timber. It's a 2-0 victory. Big C, it's only their second year of existence. They had over 73,000 fans. Arthur Blank built this team. He also owns the Atlanta Falcons. But this team in his second year wins him his championship, and the Falcons will not even make the playoffs this year. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about the growth of soccer in this country over the past couple decades, Charlton, participation in the World Cup, men and women in that. And when you look at Atlanta is such a multicultural city that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
And the owner, Arthur Blank, hit a home run, Charlton, in bringing that team in. And only in their second year of existence, Charlton, to go on and win the MSL Cup against a former winner, Charlton, the Portland Timber.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to pack that stadium down there, Charlton, I believe they had over 73,000 people in that stadium in Atlanta, which is just a marvelous feat when you think about MSL soccer and where it's gone to. And to win 2-0, and this is Atlanta's first city championship of a professional organization, Charlton, I believe, since 1995 when the Atlanta Braves won the World Series.
Yeah.
So you think it's been a long drought in that city, Charlton, for having a professional championship. But a lot of people, you know, look at the blueprint of what Atlanta did with Arthur Blank and putting together that team, Charlton.
Yeah.
And should want to copy that. It's like the Las Vegas Golden Knights last year, Charlton.
Yep.
They put together a blueprint in the NHL and made it all the way to the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Even though they didn't win, they made it all the way there in their inaugural season. And you think about a lot of these long-running franchises that don't have the ownership that Atlanta had with Arthur Blank.
Right.
And getting that team off the ground, Charlton, building that fabulous fan base, leading the league in attendance. That's the number one thing, Charlton, to lead the league in attendance. And that motivates players when you're always playing in front of a packed house versus these half-full stadiums, Charlton. When you look around, and we'll see a lot of that in the college bowl games that are about to be played.
Yep.
But, you know, you could not squeeze a mouse into that Mercedes Stadium, Charlton, because of the attendance.
Yeah, I thought it was a great environment. The city of Atlanta really represented itself well, and congratulations to Blank. The guy, I think, founded Home Depot. If you need a nail, I mean, go to him. He helped create so many opportunities for people with employment, also with sports teams. Big C, I want to touch on the NFL over the weekend. Had some great games, right? Some great performances. But I want to get your thoughts like nobody else does it better than you. We run down Big C's NFL recap and just get your thoughts on what happened. The first team I want to start with, the Cowboys 29, the Eagles 23 in overtime. What a game for the Cowboys. And this is a team that was on the way out not too long ago. Now they're atop of the division. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, 5 weeks ago, everybody had written him off. You know, Dak Prescott was not an NFL quarterback, Charlton. He was not worthy of a $20+ million a year contract like all the white quarterbacks in the NFL, Charlton. But, you know, I think in all the head-to-head showings that he's had, Charlton, in the past 6 games, he's proven that he's worthy of being a solid NFL signal caller, Charlton. He played against Carson Wentz, who was everyone's darling quarterback last year, Charlton, who was supposed to be the MVP of the NFL prior to his injury.
Yeah.
And when you look at what Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys did on Sunday, Charlton, this was something that had never been done by a Dallas Cowboy team, Charlton. They have a quarterback that passed for more than 400 yards in the game.
Wow.
They have a receiver in Amari Cooper to catch more than 200 yards receptions in a game, Charlton. They have a running back in Ezekiel Elliott, rush for more than 100 yards in the game, Charlton.
Yeah.
This is what the Dallas Cowboys accomplished on Saturday in basically solidifying the Eastern Conference, Charlton, against the Philadelphia Eagles in that head-to-head matchup.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott won't get the praise. It will still be Carson Wentz, the quarterback that everyone wants to take. But head up, Dak Prescott proved that he is a worthy signal caller in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he accomplished something that very few quarterbacks has been able to quarterback a team to. You know, when Amari Cooper was cast off from the Oakland Raiders, Charlton, John Gruden said, well, he just can't play. This is the second game, Charlton, with the Dallas Cowboys that he's had over 190 yards in receptions. You think about that. He hasn't been with the Cowboys a full season.
No.
He's had 2 games where he's had 2 of the best games in Dallas Cowboy history.
Yep.
But, you know, I'm really proud of Dak Prescott for keeping his head above the fray, Charlton, with the media beating down on him for the first 2 months of the season.
I agree, Big C. And numbers don't lie. When you look at what happened in passing, Carson Wentz 22 of 32, 228 yards. Dallas Cowboy Prescott 42 completions and 52 attempts, 455 yards in the win. This is the same guy that people were saying he's not a leader, but they were praising Wentz. You don't hear those same guys saying anything about how he's a leader now. But anyone throws for that many yards, no, you're the leader, definitely. Chargers, 26, the Bengals, 21. That Charger team could really play, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, you know, people got to look at the AFC now and ask, who is the best offense in the AFC? You know, and they're in the same division when you look at the Chargers and you look at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But Phillip Rivers has constantly proved, Charlton, that he can win. The Chargers' Achilles heel has always been their defense. They're starting to get better on defense. Well, when you look at what Phillip Rivers is doing statistically, Charlton, he's right up there with all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Big C, there's something about experience. But I look at the crowd, they only had 25,000. The Dallas Cowboys had 93,000 down there in Texas. I know it's not going to happen when the Chargers go back to San Diego. They're going to go into this new stadium for the Rams, and they're going to be second fiddle, and maybe people will show up because of the new stadium. But when you get 25,000, Big C, that stadium holds 30,000. Okay, and that's a team that's competing for first place. I want to get your thoughts. The Lions 17, the Cardinals 3. I don't even know why people went to that game, but they tend to turn out Detroit 62,000. Give me your thoughts on these 2 teams that are going nowhere, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is the Lions' first win in the desert when you think about it. But the Cardinals, you know, just a week ago, you know, they come up with this huge victory versus Green Bay, cost Mike McCarthy their job.
Yeah.
His job, and then turn around the next week and lay an egg. But, you know, the great Matthew Stafford, Charlton, you would wonder why he can't put up at least 4 touchdowns on this also-ran team.
I know.
Being one of the higher-paid quarterbacks in the NFL.
He had 100 yards passing, Big C, 15 of 23, 101 yards passing. That's Matt Stafford, $125 million. 101 yards, Big C?
Well, you know, this is the reason why Megatron left, Charlton.
Wow.
Because you were always playing from behind.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, you think about these quarterbacks, Charlton, with the meat numbers that they have.
Yep.
They will still get more praise than Dak Prescott hanging up over 400 yards, Charlton.
Yep.
Over the weekend.
Yep. It's a shame, but it's true. The 49ers 20, the Broncos 14. I know there was a loss in the family organization for the 49ers organization, I believe, at York. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. But they got to win, Big C, over a Denver Bronco team that no one expected to lose that game. Give me your thoughts, 20-14. It's a good win for the 49ers, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you got to look at the tight end Kittles, Charlton. He 240 yards receiving for the 49ers.
He's good.
On 14 receptions. Denver didn't have an answer for him. Mullins was able to find him consistently, Charlton. He made big play after big play, and he spotted the 49ers enough points where the Denver Broncos just couldn't catch up.
Yeah.
With a great pass rush, Charlton, you have to learn how to get rid of the ball quickly, and that's what Mullins did in this game, Charlton. You think about the success that the Niners have had this year, Charlton. It's been with an undrafted rookie free agent quarterback, basically.
Yep. And that's when you think about Garoppolo. What, $137 million. When you look at passing, Denver Keenum was 24 of 42, 186. And Mullins for the 49ers, 20 of 33, one interception, 332 yards. And he'll be on the bench next year unless they leave it open to competition, Big C. The Raiders, 24-21 over the Steelers, 53,000 at the Coliseum. The Steelers got robbed. Maybe it's payback for the immaculate reception when Franco Harris had the ball bounce off of Fletcher Fuqua and he ran it in for a touchdown. There are many Raiders that swore that ball hit the ground. There was no instant replay. But there was instant replay at the Coliseum where the Steeler receiver had 2 feet in bounds, control of the ball, and the officials went to replay and they said incomplete pass. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there were so many horrendous calls this past weekend by the officials, and I think Malcolm Jenkins, the safety for the Philadelphia Eagles, said it the best. Maybe they need to lay off the bottle because it was cold and they were trying to stay warm.
He's right.
He's right. When you look at some of these calls, and it's like, if you're not going to get it right, why do you utilize instant replay?
Exactly.
We've seen so many incidents of this throughout the season. But, we talked about this at the beginning of the season when the Supreme Court listed gambling across the country when you could bet anywhere.
Yep.
That's the situation you're looking at. And I thought that it would affect a lot of sports and a lot of games, Charlton.
Yeah.
And when I see some of the outcomes of these calls, I can't help but think about that.
Yep. I think you're very right, Big C, as you are in so many things. One of the greatest games, the Kansas City Chiefs, 27, Baltimore Ravens 24 in overtime. Patrick Mahomes, it might be Houdini Mahomes, because that man can play football. Imagine how good he's going to be after he has 4 years under his belt. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he threw a pass that I haven't seen a quarterback throw before. He threw a pass looking the other direction and threw a laser on a 4th and 9, okay?
Yep.
It was a 4th and 9. The game was on the line. He threw a laser looking the opposite direction. When you think about the ability of this young man, Charlton, the legend of Mahomes just grows weekly.
Yeah.
When you think about it. I mean, Lamar Jackson, when you look at what he's done since taking over the helm of the Baltimore Ravens, suffered his first loss of the season, Charlton. But it took Patrick Mahomes to do that, Charlton, with a tremendous performance, 377 yards.
Yep.
And he had this defense draped all over him. But, Charlton, it has showed the ability of this young quarterback who now has the Chiefs in the driver's seat for the control of the AFC in the playoffs, Charlton, of what he can do. He is not fear of anybody.
No.
He has a great cast of characters that play with him, Charlton. They all are on the same page. Eric Bieniemy does a tremendous job with that offense. You take your hat off to Lamar Jackson as well as Patrick Mahomes in this game, Charlton.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. And I'm just tired of people saying, Andy Reid, what a great offense. Bieniemy's the offensive coordinator. You can Google it if you guys don't understand that. He should be the one with his name bantered about as a great offensive mind, Big C. The Jets 27, the Bills 23. What a game in New York. But both teams are going nowhere this year, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the Jets finally got off the slide. I think they were on a 4 or 5 game slide. They put Sam Darnold back in the lineup, Charlton. They were able to pull out a victory. but they're playing the Buffalo Bills. This is a game between two rookie quarterbacks, Charlton, that are supposed to be the future of the NFL.
Yep.
And that's what this game says. These two guys are the future of the NFL. A hard-fought battle. Todd Bowles, I don't know if it was enough for him to keep his job in New York, Charlton.
Well, we understand they're always looking to make a change in New York. They see the Big Apple's tough. Unless you are part of the New York Giants organization, with Eli not doing that great this year. The Dolphins 34, the Patriots 33. Tom Brady said he didn't know that he didn't have a timeout. He reminds me of Smith last year at the Coliseum in Oakland, where I think it was J.R. Smith that got a rebound. Instead of trying to make the pass or make the basket, he dribbled away, and they made a lot of criticism. Well, Brady not knowing that you don't have a timeout, would you equate that as the same, especially they could have got a field goal? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there's quarterbacks that you can't touch in the NFL criticism-wise. And you just have to let them say what they're going to say. I mean, Aaron Rodgers the same way. There was comments made to him. But for Tom Brady to let that say, I didn't know we didn't have a timeout, the thing that I look at the most, though, Charlton, is that the defensive coach, Bill Belichick, who took McCurdy, the safety, out of the game, Charlton, who was their best tackler, and put Gronkowski in the game. Saying, well, we're fearing that they'll throw a Hail Mary. I wonder why you play defensive backs if you think you got to take them out of the game and put a tight end in the game. That these African-American athletes are tremendous leapers, Charlton. I think they can all out-jump Gronkowski if that's the case. But Gronkowski was the last line of defense, and the Dolphins ran right past him, Charlton, for the winning touchdown.
Yeah, he fell down. What a great way for the Dolphins to keep playing. But Brady has a hard time winning down there in Florida. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the heat and humidity, Big C. But Brady was 27 of 43, 358 yards, and Tannehill, 14 of 19, 265. But a great win by Miami. The Packers 34, the Falcons 20, Big C. Give me your thoughts on that game.
Well, Charlton, the Panthers, which game was that? The Panthers? I had a break.
The Green Bay Packers. It might be my voice, Big C. I think I may have tried to say Panthers, but it came out Packers. It is the Packers, but it's not like Panthers, because that's how you sound when you get a frog in your throat, Big C. Your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, we talked about this was the most expensive game in NFL history when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And, it was a dud. I mean, you look at the Falcons getting 20 points. That's basically the last series of the game, Charlton, that they scored a touchdown on.
Yeah.
That for 59 minutes, they laid an egg. They could only score 14 points. But, this was a game that going up to the cold, that they knew they had nothing to play for. They really were out there trying not to get hurt.
Yeah.
But the thing that I look at, Charlton, is Matt Ryan. With all the praise that he gets, and you look at the decline that the Falcons have been on, I believe that was their fifth consecutive loss.
Yeah.
That, you compare that Falcons' fifth consecutive loss to the Panthers' fifth consecutive loss.
Yeah.
And see who the media beats up the most, Charlton.
Yep.
That Matt Ryan is getting a pass, making $155 million, and can't score any points.
Yeah.
Everybody is saying, well, they're not playing great defense in Atlanta. The offensive line is a shambles. Well, every organization is put together at the same time, Charlton.
All right.
But it's amazing how Matt Ryan, everybody around him is bad, and he's good.
That is always the case, Big C. And when you think about those two players, $342 million combined between Ryan and Rodgers. Ryan, 28-42, one pick, 262 yards. Rodgers, 21 of 32, 196 yards. That's worth $342 million contracts, Big C. Doesn't make any sense. The Giants 40, the Redskins 16, and the Giants are trying to pour it on because they're not used to winning more than 4 games, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they had a lot of players out of this game. Odell Beckham didn't even play in this game. But that just lets you know how bad the Washington Redskins are right now, Charlton, and how destitute they are. This is an organization that's just been demolished. They've lost 3 of their starting offensive linemen, Charlton. They've lost 2 starting quarterbacks. They've lost a receiver. The defense has lost a couple of key personnel. So this is like the walking wounded, basically.
Yeah.
When you look at the Washington Redskins. You start Mark Sanchez because you said he fit what you did. He fit the scheme that you had.
Yeah.
You benched him, Charlton.
Yeah.
So this is a guy you signed and you said He was the best quarterback available, and you bench him.
Yeah.
Then you bring in Josh Johnson, Charlton, who said that he knew the players on the team by playing Madden.
Wow.
That's the only way he knew who his teammates were.
And Cap
by
can't
playing
get a job.
Madden at home.
Yeah.
He been sitting at home playing Madden and came in and was better than the guy that said he fits your system better. Washington is at a complete waste right now.
Yeah, that's true. Manning 14 to 22, 197 yards. Sanchez still has a job in the NFL. 6 of 14, 2 interceptions, 38 yards. They brought in Johnson, who went 11 of 16, 1 pick, 195 yards. The Browns 26, the Panthers 20. We talked about Newton maybe going downhill. Wouldn't hurt to maybe bench him. Carolina Newton 26 of 42, 1 pick, 265 yards. And then Mayfield was 18 of 22, 238 yards with Cleveland. How do you let a guy like Mayfield outdo you if you're Cam? And I just want to get your thoughts. Sometimes you can get CTE and they don't even pay attention to it. Big C, your thoughts.
Well, like I said, I question Cam's motivation more than anything else. I mean, he's a tremendous talent, Charlton. He's once was the MVP of the NFL just a couple short years ago.
I know.
But he's been on the decline ever since then, Charlton. I think a lot of what he was doing endorsement-wise went to his head.
Yeah.
And he felt that he could just be anything. He's more like the Mad Hatter than anything else in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Is that he's more concerned about his fashion faux pas after the game on the podium than what he looks like playing on the field, Charlton.
Yeah.
And if he put that same enthusiasm that he does in picking out his wardrobe for the post-game interviews, Charlton, as his playing ability on the field, Charlton,
that's true.
You would see a team, that's ready for the playoffs.
Sometimes when you lose your job, you kind of pay more attention to it. Basically, the coach, 24, Texas 21, and in front of 71,000 in Houston. An upset, or maybe not, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, to me, that's the shocker game of the weekend. Houston was on a 9-game winning streak, Charlton, and all of a sudden they get knocked off by the Colts, a divisional game, Charlton, where they could have shored up a playoff position with that win.
Yeah.
And yet the Colts came out and dominated them in that game, Charlton. They laid an egg offensively, defensively, they got ran over.
Yeah.
But, Houston will bounce back. The Colts have really improved this year. We've talked consistently about how much that team has improved with those young players, Charlton, offensively and defensively. If they hit a home run in the draft, Charlton, they probably had the best draft of any NFL team in last spring's draft.
Yeah.
And it's showing dividends.
Oh, yeah.
They will be a great team as the next couple of seasons move forward.
Yeah, they look good. Luck, 27 of 41. 1 pick, had 400 yards. Watson, 27 of 38, 267 yards. Great performance by both quarterbacks. The Saints, 28, the Buccaneers, 14. And the Saints, since that loss to Dallas, they haven't been that team that's going to go out and drop 40 on you, Big C, but they did get the win. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there was some inclement weather down in Tampa, and the Saints have never played well outside in the rain.
Yeah.
But they were behind early in this game, Charlton, and they were able to pull it out. Jameis Winston got into a blow-up spat on the sideline with his offensive lineman, Charlton, and that just basically derailed what Tampa was going to do.
Yeah.
But what this showed with New Orleans, Charlton, is that they have the ability to fight through adversity. They had a bad game against Dallas where they couldn't get any offensive production. Inside, where they normally play. They go outside, Charlton. They revenge their first loss of the season in that opening game shootout against Tampa Bay. But even more important, Charlton, they regained control of the NFC title race, Charlton, because they have that game advantage over the Rams, the Saints, if they win out, they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Well, that's a big statement for them, Big C. I want to look at what happened in Chicago last night. The Rams looked like they were just too cold. I know you talked about California teams not really playing that great when the weather turns that bad. The Windy City is a tough place to play, and the Bears have a good defense. But when you take a Rams team, it just looked like they weren't there emotionally. 15-7 is a bad loss, especially when you can score 30 points on anybody. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we had spoke about it the week before, that Jared Goff was not sharp in Detroit inside. coming back playing. He missed wide open receivers playing in the dome in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I knew once he got outside in the cold in Chicago, Charlton, it would be even a worse performance. That ball gets slick, and it's hard when it's cold. Todd Gurley, they held him to a meniscal 20-some yards last night. He's the NFL's leading rusher, Charlton.
Yeah.
There was one point that he had less yards than he did carries in the game, Charlton.
Wow.
That's how stern this Chicago defense was. But all that magical stuff that the Rams did early in the year, Charlton, people have gotten tape on it.
Yeah.
And when you're playing one of the top defenses in the league, Charlton, they just don't lay over. If you go back even a month ago, Charlton, when they played the Kansas City Chiefs, the Rams were not a dominant team in that game offensively. When you look at it, the Chiefs actually dominated them offensively. The Chiefs offense put up 51 points, Charlton.
Wow.
The Rams defense put up 21. Okay? So you got to look at the Rams offense in totality, Charlton. It hasn't played that great over the past month.
Yeah, they keep calling the head coach an offensive genius, but you can't take that performance and even win a one playoff game, let alone get to the Super Bowl. Big C, tonight's game up in Seattle, you have your cousin, Kirk Cousins, playing against, I would say, still the Legion of Boom. I know it's a great stadium, great city in Seattle. The Seahawks look to have the advantage. Of course, they're at home. I think Cousins are way overrated. I think Wilson's the most underrated quarterback in the league because all he does is win, Big C. Your thoughts on that game tonight?
Well, you know, when you look at your cousin, Charlton, people want him to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, everyone courted him during the offseason. You know, he was the big prize out there. But, you know, how much of a prize is he, Charlton, when you had a quarterback in Case Keenum that was probably making about $7 million, okay? $7 million. You got your 12 wins last year, Charlton. You weren't happy with that.
No.
You weren't happy paying $7 million and getting 12 wins. So you go out and spend $84 million guaranteed.
Wow.
And what do you have, 6 wins? You're not going to equal the win total that you had last season, Charlton. You may not even make the playoffs based on how your record is. And you're saying that he was the best quarterback out there. And I haven't heard your cousin once say this year, Charlton, how do you like that? Every year with the media once. How do you like that?
Yeah, you like that, you like that. So obviously Seattle, what do you expect from Wilson tonight, Big C? He's at home. He knows they got to keep winning because the Rams are going to keep winning even though they dropped one last night. What do you expect from Russell Wilson, the best underrated player in the NFL, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, Russell Wilson is accustomed to playing in that inclement climate up in Seattle, Charlton. It'll get cold and it'll get moist up there this time of the year. He's very accustomed, and he's a dominant quarterback at home. Your cousin is now going to be outside, Charlton.
He's not my cousin.
He's not going to be in the friendly confines of U.S. Bank Stadium.
Right.
It's going to be a little chilly, you know, so he's going to have to sit around on the heater. So that ball will be slick. And you think about last week, Charlton, with the New England Patriots, playing up there in the cold weather. They didn't perform, you know, just like we saw with the Rams yesterday. Adam Thielen was held to his lowest yardage of the season. So they will do a mirror of what the Patriots did defensively against the Vikings. So expect a real hard-fought defensive battle and Seattle coming out on top.
Final 2 minutes, tonight's NBA rundown. The Washington's at Indiana, Detroit's at Philadelphia, New Orleans at Boston, Sacramento at Chicago, Cleveland is at Milwaukee, Utah is at OKC, Orlando's at Dallas, Memphis at Denver, LA Clippers at Phoenix, Minnesota's at Golden State, should be a big game for Golden State, and then Miami at LA, the Lakers, Big C. So that's the NBA schedule. I know we have one change up in college basketball rankings. The number 1 team in the country, Gonzaga, they fell to an SEC power in Tennessee, Big C, but they were ranked too. Your thoughts?
Yes, I mean, number 7 knocks off number 1, Charlton, which once again cause turmoil in the college rankings. Well, when you think about it, Charlton, the top 3 teams have lost this year. Kansas opened the season number 1. They were knocked off. Duke was elevated. They were knocked off. Gonzaga has moved up. They were knocked off. The ratings in college basketball, Charlton, just like in the NBA, are really not important until we get past January. That's when teams get into conference play. They play in those tough head-to-head battles, Charlton. These early rankings serve not really anything. Because what it comes down to, Charlton, is those selection committees all over again.
Yeah.
Who do they love?
And who do they love? Big C. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C. What are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, what I'm looking forward to is that I want to pay homage to a friend of mine who passed away in the sports universe. Tim Rosovich, who was a former football player in the NFL, Charlton, played at USC. He played on that 67 national championship team, Charlton, that produced 5 number 1 draft picks. And, Tim was a tremendous individual. He's been suffering for the past couple of years. He's been living in Sacramento, Charlton, with his wife and family. But he passed away on Saturday, Charlton. This is a guy, when he was in college, he roomed with Tom Selleck. Everybody knows Tom Selleck from Magnum P.I.
Yeah.
And Tim Rosovich, did many acting roles after his retirement days, Charlton.
Yeah.
But, tremendous friend, and I just want to say, appreciate knowing him. And, that the world of athletics lost a tremendous individual on Saturday, Charlton.
Well, Big C, our thoughts and prayers are with his family. And maybe everybody find a way to reach out to somebody you love and tell them you love them, because life is precious. I want to say what also is precious every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys Dallas, when I tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.